Alright, welcome to I'll Do It Later. This is the podcast where I procrastinate productively, reacting to random videos and whatever weird ideas I run into. I'll be your host, and today we're looking at a Joe Rogan clip about government hiding alien info. Let's see how much of this shit is actually true and if it makes sense. Alright, let's get into it.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Hopefully it all comes out and people can legally talk about it at some point. But
can you talk about it without?
I know there's been multiple contact events, like straight up, contact events. One of them is revealed in the film.
Alright, straight off the bat, bro. That's already pissed me off. What do you mean you know this? If you know, tell us.
Actually, but there are more. There was this. Several of the people in my film talk about an event that happened at Halleman Air Force Base where two non-human crafts approached the base, one landed, beings walked out and interacted with Air Force officials and CIA.
Sounds like a great scene for a movie. Where's the evidence? That's a wild claim to make. Inside the government's 80-year cover-up. 80 years. That's a lot of different administrations. Thousands of people. No one has proof? I thought no.
CIA officials. And a couple people go on the record talking about that in the film. But there have been other events, I've been told.
How are those beings described?
They were described as tall, slender, humanoid. And the another thing that I heard that gave me chills was that
again, another thing that I heard. Nothing I've seen, nothing I have evidence of. Another thing that I've heard a lot of things too.
Someone involved with a recovery interacted with a non-human being that was dying and heard thoughts in his head that said, "You humans don't know your full potential." And
I would agree with him there. I don't know if this is alien related, but we have been dumbed down incredibly, and I think there's a lot more we can do.
that was said to me by a very senior, older guy from the intelligence community, and I thought that was pretty incredible. Also, just the extent to which the legacy program is real. This isn't like 50 guys, sitting in a quiet, dark room. You're talking about a massive program with thousands of people going to work every day.
That's exactly my point. You got all these people, and there's no evidence. There's none. It's just the shitty little videos of dots, but we can fucking take pictures on Mars in HD.
And dealing with this, and to me, that is mind blowing.
Yeah.
The guy next to you at the pizza place, on a Saturday night might be working on this during the day.
Right.
The guy who, the other father at your kid's little league game.
Yeah.
This is what he deals with, right? The fact that is a thing, and we had a similar dynamic for the Manhattan Project. There were all these people working on it, and they kept it secret, right? And their neighbors and friends didn't know. But this is that on steroids. So, after the Manhattan Project, which was had a budget in the billions.
That was a horrific time. If you don't know about the Manhattan Project, I suggest you do a quick Google search.
The situation arose, and it had to be even more secret than the Manhattan Project, because the Manhattan Project, we found out in hindsight, leaked, right? There were moles.
Right.
So we needed to make this even more secret and give it more money and more resources and more, counter intel.
And more threats.
Which is counter intel,
Yeah, I mean, threats if you reveal those secrets. But it's like the more this stuff gets discussed, the more I go back to what Lazar said. Because what Lazar is describing from the 1980s is exactly what these people are saying now. They've had these things. They've been trying to figure them out. They've been working on them. At least in the 1980s, they hadn't totally cracked it yet. but they did know how to operate them, and that they would do these tests. But everything was so compartmentalized. He said he wasn't allowed to talk to the metallurgist. There was different people that were assigned to it.
Yeah.
What they were assigned to do was to try to figure out how the propulsion system worked.
Yeah.
And then there was other people that were assigned to try to figure out how the metallurgy was formed.
Yeah.
Because whatever it was seemed like it was 3D printed. It didn't have any seams.
Yeah.
And
Again, just word of mouth. I've heard this, I've seen that. You should believe me, because I know Bob Lazar has been saying the same things for a few decades now. I'm not saying he's lying, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying, me personally, I need to see evidence. I cannot just take your word for it.
when he talks about it, it sounds exactly like what people are talking about today, which is really bananas.
Yeah.
Because this is late 1980s, and he's the first guy to crack through with this stuff.
Yeah, everything is so, in that secret program, everything is so siloed out where you could have one team of defense contractors working on one thing. They're not even told it's from an alien spacecraft. They're just told, here's the thing. It might be Russia, it might be China. Tell us how it works. You
Right.
know? They're just kept in a little bubble. And one of the issues now is that everything's become so overclassified and so siloed that it's actually hurting progress. And that's a lot of the scientists in my film are voicing that. And one of the other things I learned recently that isn't in the film, Jay Stratton, who ran the UAP task force, he told me that during that time, he had started a talk with one of the senior scientists at Lockheed, who was frustrated.
By the way, he's talking about Lockheed Martin, the world's biggest weapons manufacturer.
By how overclassified everything was. It even made it hard for the defense contractors to get the right manpower and brains on it, because not everyone can be cleared to do the work, right? There's all these like red tape hurdles to progress, right? And so they had made a plan to move one of the crafts that had been recovered that was in Lockheed's possession into the possession of the UAP task force. And then the task force was going to be able to put more brain power towards it. And then the head of science and technology at the CIA shut it down in the middle of the transfer. They had actually secured it.
I don't know, man. It's like you've got all this technology, all these great things you keep saying about. I'm still getting on a train from 50 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
A hangar on a military base and prepped it to be a classified hangar that would hold this craft, and they were stopped. So the issue of overclassification.
Did they know what happened after that?
Yeah, the CIA just shut the whole transaction down, and the craft stayed in Lockheed's possession. And then that particular leader within Lockheed died about 2 years later. So the effort kind of stopped. He had cancer. The overclassification is definitely a hurdle for this. And our competitors don't necessarily have that. Like there's no free will in China. She can just be like, hey, you're the smartest guy graduating your class. You're going to go work for the nation on this,
Right, period.
And here, the problem is no one knows it's real. One of the things I hope the film changes is it makes the scientific community know that this is a valid area of inquiry. This is real.
That's another thing. These countries have tolerated each other for centuries. They've been through war, they've been through business, they've been through peace, but they don't like each other. For example, China and America, right? They don't like each other, they tolerate each other for peace and business. Add Russia into this. Add countries that America has bombed, not just America, the West. So you're telling me only America has this alien information? No one else in the whole world has any evidence? And you're telling me nobody came out and said, hey, I'm going to burst your bubble, America. I'm going to tell the world the truth.
It's a real situation, and there's a ton of problems for the next generation of engineers and scientists to solve, you know? And so hopefully it inspires them and helps us make progress, because there's a lot of progress that could be made here.
Well, it certainly seems like it, but it's like how one of the things that you guys propose in the film that I think maybe the only way forward is some sort of a mass amnesty to all these people that did lie to Congress and probably misappropriated funds and maybe stole a little bit here and there. Like if that doesn't happen, no one is going to push to make this public. No one's going to push for like actual full disclosure, because it leaves them too exposed. And if they do have the kind of power that they must have to be running an organization of thousands of people working on something with unbelievable amounts of money being transferred to these programs, they don't want to let that go.
Yeah.
Like this is like, it's a honeypot that they're drawing from, right? And they're probably still taking too much or...
Yeah, that's true. Once big money gets involved in any project, it just turns into a fucking Disney.
There's no oversight. You're still lying to Congress, and you'd have to have some national security amnesty program saying, look, in the interest of national security, it's critically important that we get all of our best people working on this. The only way we're ever going to really do that is to completely reveal that this is actually really happening. This is real crafts from somewhere or something. We have them. We'll tell you where we have them. And I think right now people wouldn't even freak out, because I would think that people would freak out if there was some sort of official narrative of disclosure. But that's sort of been breached, right? The New York Times breached that in 2017.
I think this film is that. I mean, this is 34 credible people putting their reputation and name on the line, which I honestly, Joe, I think it's stronger evidence than any video or film.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched the film / documentary yet. Again, credible people, lots of information, zero evidence, zero. No real life evidence we can look at and say, hey, it's just word of mouth. You just gotta trust me, bro. That's my problem with this alien shit.
Photo. These days, you could put a 4K video of a giant craft over Vandenberg, and half the human population will say it's AI,
right,
or creating some visual effects program. But someone...
All right. AI fake videos have been out for 2 years maximum. For the public. We're not talking about deep fake that YouTube was doing 10 years ago. That's a really shit argument for this guy. Really shit argument to bring up fake AI videos and claim people won't believe it. Where was the videos before AI videos?
Of note, putting their name and reputation on the line, their career on the line, the rest of their lives on the line, to say, this is what I know to be true. To me, that's the greatest evidence that exists. But I do think, to your point, amnesty is something that's gonna have to be figured out, because while it's hard for anyone to accept letting people off the hook for wrongdoings, right? It does seem like it's in the best interest of the bigger picture.
100%.
Because these people just they have no incentive to come forward with what they've learned. And so, to quote Rubio in the film, he says, look, this is not a endeavor to go and...
What do you mean they have no incentive? Take a video, like steal some documents, leak that shit, man. The incentive is you're changing the course of humanity.
Punish anyone, but we need to know what they learned,
right?
And I think he's totally dead on. And
is he in favor of some sort of an amnesty program as well?
Yeah, he says on camera in the film, he's like, I'm not trying to punish anyone. I need to know what they learned, because taxpayers paid for this, and it's in our interest to know what's going on. But the other thing that's needed is real whistleblower protection, not the whistleblower protection that's been passed so far, like much stronger.
In this world, you can forget about whistleblower protection. There are certain things you cannot talk about. A lot of people end up dead really quick. There are certain subjects Joe Rogan himself would not dare to talk about. because he knows what will happen.
Stronger legal protections so that people like, like the folks I talked to, the special forces guys I talked to, were going to come forward and then decided they thought to be forfeiting their lives. You've got to change that set of circumstances. You got to make those people feel like that's not going to happen to them.
Right.
And what I think ultimately is going to have to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised, man, if it happens soon after the film comes out, I think a sitting president has to step to the microphone and say definitively, humanity's not alone in the universe. We have recovered technology of non-human origin. So have other nations. There is a high-stakes secret Cold War race to reverse engineer this technology. We need to win this race, and the U.S. intends to lead in this new chapter. I think that needs to happen, like a level set of basic facts.
How many times have you heard this? We need to win the race. The space race. The AI race. The alien race. There's always a fucking race, isn't it? You stupid humans. Either this is a big fucking show for everyone, or this is just fucking insanity. We're all humans. Why are we fucking racing each other? Who the fuck cares what country wins the fucking race? How about you work together as the human race? Am I tripping?
Facts, and I really do think it will happen.
Well, if that is going to happen, I think Trump might be the only guy that's willing to do something crazy.
I think it's very likely that he does that. I know that he is aware of the film. I know he's aware of what people in his administration say.
Has he watched it? You know that?
He has not watched the film, but I know he's very aware of it, and I know that they are discussing internally how they're going to react to the film publicly. And I also know that he has very recently, tasked Tulsi Gabbard with getting to the bottom of the situation and finding out for him what he needs to know that he doesn't know.
Really?
Yeah. And as Rubio said in the film, Rubio says on camera, on the record, on the film, that this has been kept from sitting presidents. And he goes into detail on how that's been done and how it's the career bureaucrats in certain elements of the government that control this information and just wait presidents out and don't feel like they have a need to know.
Right. Well, there were some people that tried to find information out in the beginning of the Trump administration. Who was it? There was someone that talked about it on record and said he was told at every turn that you don't have the clearance.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Trump actually found out about the base facts in his last presidency and was contemplating stepping to the microphone then.
What base facts?
So
that's another thing. If Trump knew anything with his big mouth, he would have spilled something by now.
Jay Stratton, who ran the task force, he says on camera in my film that he briefed that Mnuchin, the Secretary of Treasury, asked for a briefing on the lay of the land because Trump asked him to get the briefing, and Trump had already known that the base facts that we're not alone in the universe, that there's been recovery of crashed craft, right? He knew those base facts, and he told Mnuchin that he was thinking about going public, and so Mnuchin reached out to Stratton to get a briefing, and he told Stratton that the reason he wanted the briefing is because he needed to be able to evaluate what the impact would be to the economy if the president decided to step to the mic and tell the world we're not alone. And Stratton tells the story on camera in the film.
What exactly is it going to do to the economy? How is it going to change my life, your life? Alright, find out there's aliens. What then? The stock market, the US stock market, is the most manipulated thing in the world. It's just a bunch of billionaires and funds that hold billions that make it go up and down whenever they want. Hey, Trump's doing it. He comes out and says tariffs, shit goes down, they buy, goes up. Comes out and says tariffs, goes down. I mean, come on.
And I've heard a lot more about it off camera. So we know Trump contemplated doing this already. Now I think the release of this film and Rubio's involvement.
Are you not going to buy Nvidia because there's aliens? Is that what you're trying to say?
involvement puts enough on the table that it makes it easier for him to do.
I think they would have to have some sort of a plan in place if they were going to say that, right? Like the amnesty plan, the idea behind it would have to be in place. If someone's
Or at least grab control of the situation and say that this is real and the U.S. intends to lead the way. Because the other factor that the White House has to keep in mind is you don't want Xi or Putin being the guy to do that.
Right.
You don't want them to have that moment, right?
Right.
Something I always think about with regards to that moment of a president stepping to the mic. When we entered the space race, Kennedy gave that big famous speech, right? He was like, "We're going to lead in space technology, space technology, like nuclear technology, has no conscience of its own. It's up to man to use it for good or bad, and we're going to make sure it's used for the betterment of all mankind, and we're going to lead the way." That was his whole rallying speech, right? And it made the whole scientific community be like, "We're going to help the U.S. win," rah rah rah, right? I think that's needed in this race. We need.
Wait, so was Hiroshima for the benefit of the people? What people was that?
All the support of the scientific community, of academia, the kids coming out of MIT. We need them putting their brain power towards this, and I think the White House knows that. And it's also the greatest. That's the greatest TV moment a leader could have in the history of humanity. Step into the microphone.
Do you think Elon knows?
Look, I've seen him obviously talk to you about it. I think he knows a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think you get the contracts and the clearances you need to operate in space without some horse trading.
If anyone's an alien, it's Elon. I mean, if there are aliens here, it's fucking Elon.
Yeah, when I went to SpaceX, I'm like, motherfucker, you know everything. There's no way you're launching these fucking things into space without them keying you in on exactly what's going on. He's just sly about it.
Well,
he goes, well, if they are aliens, they're certainly all subtle. That's what he says. Are they really? I don't know, man.
I think it's impossible to operate in space like he does and not be aware of everything. And also at the level he operates clearance-wise. I held a secret screening at the National Space Symposium earlier this year, which is the Super Bowl of the space industry. It's like 60 people, heavy hitters from the space industry. We didn't promote it or publicize it at all, but there were a dozen guys from SpaceX there, and they all seem very aware of everything revealed in the film.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Yeah,
he's my friend, and he won't tell me.
He's a legend.
He keeps a lid on it.
He's a legend.
But how would he not know if it is? And some people have told me he knows that know he knows some things. So whatever. But the point is, people are good at keeping secrets. That's real.
If he does know anything, he's not telling you, so you don't get killed, and you don't get killed.
100%.
Even people that aren't notoriously good at keeping secrets are good at keeping secrets when they have to be.
Do you think if you put yourself, you've interviewed Trump, do you see him doing that, stepping to the mic and telling us the truth?
Someone talks to him about it, and
if Trump don't get a third term, and he don't get, he's gonna fucking spill all the beans. I'm telling you.
Convinces him it's a great idea. Like if I had an hour with him.
I mean, it's literally the single, in my opinion, the single greatest moment a leader could have.
Well,
in the history of the world.
If he could be the guy that blows the lid off of it, that would definitely help with his legacy too, which I think would be a good way to convince him.
Alright guys, that was episode 1 of I'll Do It Later. I don't know, what do you think? I think this is all bullshit. It's the distraction. They've been talking about aliens for how long now? Oh, they're coming for me. They're coming for me. But no, seriously, they've been talking about aliens for so long now. No evidence, nothing real, just information from people who have seen and heard things. If you work somewhere for 20 to 30 years, there's no way you don't gather evidence if you are planning on leaking it. Do you know what I mean? Just seems like I want to believe it. I really, 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 really want to believe that there's aliens, but I need to see proof. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like, comment, agree, disagree. See you next time.